Brezza, the Citybird SUV.
A game delayed, but fortunately for us, not denied. The weather in Kolkata means we have a curtailed game, and so match number 60 of IPL 2024 will be a 16 overs a side affair. And into it we go with no team still having a queue next to it, although Kolkata Knight Riders can change that in the hours up ahead. A victory will make them the first team through to the playoffs. Up against them are Mumbai Indians, who have 2 games to try and avoid finishing bottom of the points table for the second time in 3 seasons. Welcome then to Maruti Suzuki Arena, presents ESPN Cricket for Timeout, powered by JBL. We head into the penultimate weekend of league stage action with the original crew back. Tom Moody, McClenaghan, Varun Aaron. I can't stress enough, Tom and Varun, how much the man in the middle has missed you in the last few days.
Yeah, I can appreciate that, but we've missed him as well, and we've missed you too, Yash, to be fair. It's good to be back on the couch, isn't it, Varun?
It is very good to be back in my original spot.
Do you feel comfortable lying to these two? I have not missed them at all. Not one
You
bit.
seem to say completely the opposite all
Not
the time.
one bit.
All right, then. We thought we'll miss this opportunity given the weather, but fortunately we do get a game. It does change things up, though, moving from 20 to 16.
Yeah, it does, but I think the speed the game's been played, particularly this season, I don't think it changes a hell of a lot, because generally, historically, with a shortened game, it just means the game is accelerated from a batting perspective. So from a bowling perspective, it's defensive plans early, trying to shut down the opposition, trying to reduce boundaries, all those things that have already happened this season, where we've had a record year in the IPL of runs scored, partnerships made, sixes hit, fours hit, you name it, we've had it. And it's all been in favour of the batters out there just, causing carnage. So I think both teams will be very much attuned to how to play a 16-over game, and, there's plenty of experience on both sides as well. They've played shorter games than 16 as well.
The reduction in overs also means that only one bowler can bowl the full complement. But I guess if there are 2 teams who have it easy to pick the one bowler, it is these two, Jasprit Bumrah, Sunil Narine, makes the captain's job a little easier.
Yeah, Bumrah's a definite. You'd imagine he'll bowl as 4. Narine, I'm not entirely sure. It just depends what the surface does. If someone else is rolling nicely, but you probably say there's a 90% chance that he's going to bowl his 4 as well. So I agree with what Tom said. It's going to be accelerated. I think it's still going to be very high scoring, particularly you've got the impact player. You're right. Traditionally, when you didn't have the impact sub, these games was very difficult for a bowler because the ball flew around. Guys had less care for their wicket, and now it's even accelerated even further with that impact sub.
Can confirm that Mumbai Indians have won the toss in this delayed start. They will bowl first, which comes as no surprise, given the conditions.
Not at all. They would definitely like to chase in these kind of conditions, with especially with the Eden Gardens being one of the highest scoring grounds in the IPL ever. But it's good for their batting as well, because now when you see 16 overs, I think all their batsmen are just going to play a more carefree approach. And I say carefree because till now I think they were being a bit in between gears, not exactly switching it on. But when you have 16 overs to bat, especially with a team, when a team is struggling, it just gives you license, it just gives you more clarity of thought to go out there and do what's needed, which is hit a lot of boundaries.
KKR versus MI is a contest which over the years has been heavily skewed in favour of Mumbai Indians. Kolkata Knight Riders, though, just a week ago beat Mumbai at Wankhede, a first for them since 2012. And the contrast in these two sides this season and where they find themselves on the points table is nowhere illustrated better than when you look at the returns of their overseas contingents. For KKR, with that combination of Phil Salt and Sunil Narine at the top, to go with Mitchell Starc and, of course, Andre Russell, they have their overseas contingent absolutely at the top of most of the charts. And, Tom, that plays a defining role in where KKR find themselves at this point of the season.
That's an incredible sort of graphic, that, isn't it? Really does highlight one of the main reasons KKR are, singing pretty at the top of the table and hoping to secure that tonight. When you have your key players, whether that be in that case overseas players or your Indian players all firing at the same time, you're going to find yourself, showing consistency throughout the tournament, both home and away. Different people take the responsibility on different days. You're not relying on the same source to bring you wickets or the same source to bring you runs. Everyone is contributing.
Yeah, so much heavy lifting, but also, as Tom points out, it's just so complementary. If Narayan's a little slower at the start of the power play, Salt is there to take on the charge. And in the bowling, even if Stark is easing his way through the season, Russell at times comes in and gets those key strikes.
Yeah, Russell's a genuine wicket taker when he comes onto bowl, isn't he? He always has an impact. It's uncanny how many times he bowls the first ball of an over and gets a wicket. So just hurries you just a little bit more than it might look like on the TV. He bowls a very heavy ball and hits the stickers hard. But you talk about Mitchell Stark. I guess the thing is, we just watched a piece. Graham Swan just interviewed him, and he said over the last 8 or 9 years he hasn't played a lot of T20 cricket. So it's been a process for him to get back into the game, understanding, and IPL this year being the accelerated version with how aggressive batsman has been would have been a real challenge for him at the start. But he's getting there, he's getting back to his best, and KKR will need that going into the finals.
Given the possibility of slippery conditions and you don't always know how much your spinners can do, it's possibly a game where Russell's overs could be handy.
Russell's overs are always handy for KKR because, like Mitch said, he comes in, gets a wicket almost every over he bowls, which is the way he operates also. He bowls, he's a bit brave. He doesn't shy away from bowling the bouncer. He's one of the bowlers who's actually used the bouncer really well throughout the IPL. Not just bowling like a short ball which is above the head and which goes for wide, but which is actually effective. His bouncer is really potent, bowls a very hard length. So batsmen nowadays are generally, especially when Russell comes into bowl during that stage, they're expecting either Yorkers or slow balls, but he goes the other way, goes bouncer, pace on, length, pace on. So Russell has been giving them a lot of returns with a lower economy rate than usual.
So that's the overseas contingent for KKR, firing on most cylinders, but they make one notable change among their domestic crew for this game against Mumbai Indians, and Nitish Rana, who led them last season, finally gets a game this season, and that what does that do to their batting order, Tom?
I think it makes it look even better, doesn't it? You know, it's a very experienced player, Nitish Rana. He's a great in for their playing 11 or 11 plus the sub. It gives them a huge amount of experience. It gives them another left-hander, which is always handy. But they've always have had that covered with Iyer being a left-hander as well. So yeah, that's a plus, particularly given leading into the finals. We know they're definitely in the playoffs, but it's where they're positioned. They're going to come first, second, or third, and to give him some game time before that critical playoff time is very important.
True, and I think teams like KKR and Rajasthan Royals are also going to look at who's going to fill those spaces with Phil Salt going, with Josh Butler going. So if you have the right guys in the top 3 now, they can just easily slot in and start opening when these guys leave.
Yeah, he replaces Ankush Raghuvanshi in this particular game. They will still have a decision later if Salt is to leave and not be around. There's also the wicketkeeper who has to be replaced, which perhaps means Gurbaz has to come in. But Nitish Rana getting some games could be important for them going into that back end. Yeah,
definitely. You're right. I think Gurbaz will have to come in because they don't have a out-and-out keeper on the bench who would make that starting side as warranted with the bat. So Nitish Rana coming in at 3. I like it because if Sunil Narayan doesn't get off to a good start and he's the one who departs early, Nitish Rana is a very good player of spin. He takes it down and he's aggressive as well. So I like what he can add to the middle, particularly if they get off to a good start. But if Sunny gets out earlier, I think he can continue on in that fashion.
Let's take you through the Mumbai Indians lineup. They only fielded 2 overseas players in their last outing. This time around, it stays the same. Tim David and Novan Tushara are the starters. They do have the option of Mohammad Nabi on the bench, but Rohit Sharma is part of the impact bench, which means you'd imagine when Mumbai chase Rohit Sharma on a ground he loves so much, will be back up there. Tom, your thoughts on that lineup?
Again, I'm a little bit surprised that overseas, at least one other overseas, if not 2, isn't in that lineup. But then the argument is it's a chance for Mumbai to have a look at all their Indian players, given that their campaign has come to an end. But I also hesitate because I know that the coaching staff, I know the players, I know the owners, we're desperate to win, regardless of where their position, because the pride factor, we've all, as players and staff and owners, have got pride in our performances, and they don't want to be sitting at the bottom of the log. You know, ideally, if you're going to have a poor season, you want to be not 10th, you want to be 9th or 8th, because there's nothing worse than being right at the bottom.
Yeah, that 1 point would have helped.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, that also means a continued absence for Gerald Coetzee, who, with 13 wickets in the 10 games he's played, would perhaps hope to get a few more games.
True, I definitely think Coetzee should have been in the mix there, but at this point, there's only speculation with what they're trying to do. Maybe they're just trying to see who, see the guys who've been in the bench, not gotten a chance, with the fast bowler who from Haryana who came in last game.
Anshul Kamboj.
Yeah, Anshul Kamboj. Yeah, he bowled pretty well actually. So that was a decent start for him to his IPL career. So he's getting another chance, which is good for him.
All right. And that bowling attack sure has some test because KKR have been scoring 200 plus for fun, driven as they are, of course, by Narayan and Salt at the top. But there's another facet of KKR's game which has been quietly impressive. I mean, far from quiet, because at the death overs, you've seen so many of their batters, while not having a big role to play, the likes of Ramandeep, Russell, Rinku, in their short bursts, you look at those strike rates and you see that every batter is contributing at the death, and that contributes to KKR also being among the most prolific scorers in the last 5 overs.
And the guy that's really putting the icing on the cake is Ramandeep. He's been the real surprise, coming in late. I know it's only a small sample size of 60 runs, but, you know, just the 25 balls, that's a very high strike rate. So if you've got someone coming in at sort of that position at 8 and having that type of impact, you know, it can be demoralising to the opposition, because it's the back end of the innings. They feel, oh, okay, we're going to be chasing 220, and suddenly Ramandeep comes out and turns that projected 220 into 235 or 240. The changeover, you go in there a bit deflated, don't you, as a unit, sort of thinking, oh gosh, I thought we were only chasing, 220, but that innings from Ramandeep is just blowing it out to 240.
Yeah, you asked the question of Shivram Hetmeyer and Robin Powell, and saying, oh, they're striking in the mid-140s. Is it too hard to say how their season's gone because of the amount of balls that they've faced? Both faced less than 50 balls. I think that table there
sums it up.
Shows you the impact that you require from someone at that point of the innings. And every single one of those batsmen on that table have got an outstanding strike rate at the end there. So, no, limited balls is not an excuse. And I think what Ramandeep's added this year has been exceptional.
Yeah, 25 not out of 6 in the last game. And there was the season opener as well, where he was sent up after some early wickets and he made 35 of 17. So Ramandeep Singh making a short impression for KKR. The game is just about to start, so condensed as the time is on this show, it's time already for us to enter into the impact zone. Since we have the return on this couch for a lot of you, I present the updated leaderboard with Varun Aaron. Isn't he beaming? We sure must cut to that. Yes, Varun, enjoy your moment. 2.47. It's got really tight in that points table, but how does it feel to find yourself up there having sat out?
It feels beautiful because I haven't done anything I haven't done anything to get up there. I've just, I have when I was on the show, but yeah, it feels nice. Tom doesn't look too happy. He's giving me a very stern.
I know, I'm delighted for you.
No, you're not.
Well, Tom's won enough. He's just letting you win for once.
Absolutely delighted. Yeah, I have no problem whatsoever. You enjoy it where you can.
This is Tom's stern face, and he's like, I'm going to show you what's going to happen tonight.
Yes, so let us enter into the impact zone for today and get into the picks. Tom, why don't you start us off?
Perfect. Okay, I'll start with a bowler. I'll start with Sunil Narayan.
Narayan as the bowler.
I will take Bumrah.
Mitch with Bumrah.
Oh, you're going second, eh?
He's already called that, so fine. Varun, that leaves you with a bowling pick.
No, this is getting tough. They've got a good... I'm going to go with...
You want the options?
I would like the options. I'll go with Varun Chakravarti.
Oh,
Varun.
okay, I like that.
Varun for Varun.
Yes.
Let's get into batters with Mitch.
I will go Phil Salt.
Phil Salt, Varun.
I will go with Sunil Narayan.
That's
Nice
taken.
one. Bowler.
Oh, bowler, sorry.
First pick.
Surya Kumar Yadav.
Surya for Varun and Tom.
I'll go with Andre Russell.
Andre Russell. And wildcards. Varun, start us off.
Hardik Pandya.
Hardik Pandya. We go to Tom.
That's a
I'll
nice
go
outfield.
with Nuwan Tushara.
Nuwan Tushara for Tom and Mitch.
I will go with. Really good question here.
Nuwan Tushara has got smacked the six first ball.
You know what? I picked it because I thought it was going straight up.
I will go with. I'm going to go with the King of Kolkata, Rohit Sharma.
Rohit Sharma for Mitch.
I thought he's going to go with Saurav Ganguly for a second. And then I was like, okay.
Not going there. Let's quickly
Gambia.
get
yeah.
the first ball of the game has gone for 6. Let's get scores and an outrageous pick. Tom.
211. And I'm going to say that Tushara is going to take shortened game, so he can't really go with the wickets. It's a difficult one, the wickets. I'll go with Phil Salt's going to hit more than 5 sixes.
Salt 5 plus 6s. All right, Mitch.
Both teams will be on over 75 in the power play, and both teams will score over 200. So that's my outrageous for both innings. Because they go across
So you're
both
not
innings.
giving us a score for
Score,
this innings.
well, score will be, let's say, 220 for KKR.
220, and you're saying 75 plus in both power plays.
70 plus,
70
both plus.
70?
Because it's only 5 overs, remember.
Yeah, so you're saying 70.
Both teams will get
70,
70
yeah.
plus.
All right, 70 or more.
And then
in
both teams
power
will score
plays.
over 200.
Noted. All right.
198.
198.
And Ishan Kishan is getting a 50 today.
Ishan Kishan 50. All right, I'll take that given his form. Kishan 50 plus.
Do you want something for the first innings?
Oh, yes, sorry, first innings.
First innings.
We can bank that for later.
I'm going to say Russell is going to hit 5 sixes.
Russell to hit 5 or more 6s. All right, wow, we're expecting an absolute run fest if we go by this. A range of 198 to 220, and this, might I remind you, in a 16-over game. If we get anywhere close to it, it will have been some first innings. So thank you, Tom, Mitch, Varun. Look forward to your company through the rest of this evening, and hopefully we get to see most of the rest of this evening, given the weather in Kolkata. Be sure to join us whenever the first innings does end on Maruti Suzuki Arena. Presents ESPN Cricket Info Timeout, powered by JBL. In the meantime, if you haven't already, download the ESPN Cricket Info mobile app to keep you covered with the fastest scores and so much more. James Anderson has announced that the first test of the England summer will be his last, so you can find some tributes for Anderson on the app. So go ahead and download it, and we'll see you in 16 overs time.
All new hot and techy Brezza, the Citybird SUV.